Hey there, folks. Brian here, back with another video, a fun video for you today. I hope you're going to enjoy it anyway. First of all, before I say any more, if you hear drilling or hammering in the background, don't be alarmed. Do not adjust your set. It's just that we're having some work done on the house downstairs, and my neighbour is also having work done on his house, so there's lots of noise today. But hopefully this microphone will block most of that out. Anyway, today's video. The reason I am making this one is that a number of you recently have contacted me to ask for details of my tarot coaching workshop, Tarot Coach Session Success. This is my flagship introductory workshop, if you like, to the kind of work that I do in combining tarot reading skills with life coaching approaches. And the reason I do this, the purpose of combining them from my point of view is that it's a great way of taking clients or ourselves, if we're using this methodology for ourselves, from inspired insights, the kind of inspired insights that tarot reading can give us, to the kind of rapid and real results that a well structured coaching session can give us. And tarot coaching is about combining both of those things together. So it's a very powerful model. I love it and use it and teach others to use it. And that's why Tarot Coach Session Success was born. And originally it was a live workshop that I delivered on Zoom to a couple of different cohorts of students, and since then hundreds of people have bought the recording, and I get great feedback on it and people seem to enjoy it, and so I wanted to share a bit about that with you. And since a number of you have asked recently, I thought, well, what's the best way that I can do that? And the best way really is to give you a bit of a preview of what's contained within the program. So that's what we're going to do. And I'll say a bit more about it at the end, but the section you're about to see is part of the program where I talk about the ACEs tarot coaching model. This is a model that I developed to help us to structure our tarot coaching sessions. And without further ado, on to ACEs. So let's have a look now at ACEs. You can see Maya is very excited. She's so excited now she's sideways. So in this section, we're going to look at an overview of ACEs and what each of the different areas means and how to explore them. And I'll just say briefly a little bit about how the ACEs model arrived. I actually was working a little while ago on developing a coach training program, and I was trying to develop a model of my own, which I thought, well, you know, models need to have different stages. So I'll have 4 stages. And I got to the point of working out that my model, my emerging model, had an element in it which was about exploring the client's awareness of their issue, their desire for moving forward. There was going to be an element in discernment, discerning a way forward from all the different options they had. There would be an element around taking action and making effort to move things forward. And then the last bit would be about assessing results. And I was thinking about this model and trying to figure out what to call it and you know, what words to use. And I actually was sitting with my deck of tarot cards and just flicking through them, my little miniature deck of Rider-Waite-Smith cards, which I carry with me everywhere because they're so handy. And as I was doing it, I just happened to pull out. I felt almost kind of drawn to pull out the 4 aces, and I arranged them in front of me in the order you see here. And what was kind of interesting to me is I suddenly realized, and this is one of these examples of where, you know, even if you don't have a particularly woo approach to tarot, I've got quite a practical approach to tarot, but I'm very open to the fact that it really unlocks something larger than our own limited perspective. Because what I noticed when I was looking at the cards was I'd arranged them in a particular way that related to the different elements of the coaching model I was developing. The idea of this pouring forth of awareness with the cups, the choosing, the discernment, the mental discernment, choice of swords, putting some vim and vigor into the effort of making things happen with the wands, and then what you get, your kind of practical results with the coins or the pentacles. And so I thought, well, this is great. This symbolizes my 4 stages, and those 4 stages can be awareness, choice, energy, and surrender. And that's at the point where I realized that awareness, choice, energy, and surrender spells ACEs. So I thought, well, here we are. I've got my name for my coaching model now. It seems appropriate, and it felt really like a gift from the tarot. I wrote a little bit about this in my guide, Tarot Manifesting, which will be included as part of your bonuses as well. So if you haven't already got this, I will make it available to you. But if you want to, if you can't wait until then, you can go to my website at that address and download it. And the great thing about ACEs, I find, is that it describes various things, and it can be taken at the most mundane level or metaphysical, depending on what you like. On the metaphysical level, it can describe our moment-by-moment experience of created reality and how every experience comes to us and how well we respond to it. But it can also be just a case of, well, what do I need to know? What's next? What do I need to do next? So it can be very practical too. So let me just quickly talk you through the 4 stages and consider what you might be talking to your clients about in each of these stages. So in the first one, this is awareness, and this is really the and Anna Teresa is asking, can we use this model for our own coaching model? Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Please do. This is for you. This is for you to use. So absolutely, you can use it in your tarot coaching sessions or indeed in any session. Then the guide that I talked about has got some examples of how you can use it. So awareness, I talk about there being 3 awarenesses, and I'm not going to go into too much detail here because it can get a little bit metaphysical. So I'll try and keep it practical and coaching based. But really the awareness is the ground of being. It's, you know, everything we experience is awareness, and we as human beings very quickly become aware of what we want more of and what we want less of in life, and so too do our clients. So that's one of the things to explore with them. And when they start attending to what's arising in their awareness, they become aware of what it is they want to work on, what their goals might be. So this is a great way of getting in touch with a client's goal, especially if you've got a client who comes to you and says, well, I don't really know what my goal is. I just feel that I need some direction. Spending a bit of time exploring awareness can be a great way of helping a client understand what it is they need to know more of. So the kind of practices you might work with a client with here, as well as with the cards, of course. So in every one of these stages, the cards can be deployed, but you would perhaps spend some time in stillness, silence. You'd encourage your clients to explore mindfulness, meditation, contemplative practices, and various things like that. And the focus here will be on your client's issues, ambitions, aspirations, dreams, ideas, plans, and goals. But this is setting the scene for a coaching relationship. There are some questions that you can ask clients that are really helpful. And I expect that some of you will notice that these questions not only work great as coaching questions, but they also work really well as tarot questions. So they can indeed be a form of tarot reading and tarot exploration. But my advice to you would be to coach first. You know, tarot coaching is tarot coaching. It's not coaching tarot. So the emphasis is on coaching. So coach first, give the client time to answer questions like this before you start pulling the cards. Because once you've explored with them, the cards can be used to dive a bit deeper. So you'd pull one card perhaps for each question, or indeed you could use a whole spread for each question. But these are some of the questions you might ask in the awareness stage. Very obvious ones like, what would you like to achieve from this session? On a scale of 1 to 10, if they know their goal, how close are you to your goal? So you can assess how much work needs to be done. What have you still got to try? You know, what have they tried already and what do they need to try? And how will you know if you've achieved it? What will it mean for you? So getting behind the client's why. Why do they want to do this thing that they're focusing on? Choice. This is about deciding what it is a client will work on. So choosing to be co-creative, choosing what to focus on. Being a conscious co-creator in this process. The practices that they might deploy here are discernment, giving themselves some time to explore if they find it difficult to choose exactly what to move on. But this is about deciding a way forward and committing to action and clarifying things. And it can be quite a scary moment in a coaching session when a client's trying to determine what they're going to do. So there are, of course, some questions you can ask here. And all these questions, as I say, will be available to you in your bonuses and downloads. So you might ask, what options are you aware of? What options have you considered already and dropped? What did you learn from that process? What would you do if you had more confidence? What if you had 100% confidence? A really powerful question I love, and it's quite a good question. I wouldn't suggest you try and catch your clients off guard with this question, but I find that it sometimes works if a client isn't really expecting it, because it really opens their mind. And that is, if you knew what to do, what would you do? Because so often clients think, and we all do this, don't we? We think we don't know what to do in a situation, and we sometimes lose sight of what we do know. So this is about opening up what a client does know. Energy, this is really where most of the work happens, and you might actually find in a coaching relationship, not necessarily in a coaching session, but in a coaching relationship, this is where the client will spend a lot of their time. So this is where the work happens, where they start energizing the activity that needs to move them forward. So it's about working out what support they need to make their goals real, to make them happen. How to build self-confidence, how to keep their energy levels up, what strategies they use to move forward, and also how they might untangle the obstacles that they face. And we don't have time today to go into all the different practices that you can use, but this is where your favorite modalities and recommendations can really be brought to the table, and you can work with clients. So often with clients who are stuck, I use quite a lot of self-inquiry processes. Some of you might be familiar with the work of Byron Katie, which is a self-inquiry process for getting past limiting beliefs. And I do quite a lot of work around that to help clients get past their obstacles. It's also about implementing plans and choosing practices and dealing with different obstacles. And this is a point at which you can explore where you are with a client and how much they want to do. So Anna Teresa has asked that, this is the point I ask, are you interested or committed? It could be about figuring out with your client where they are and how ready they are to move forward, and whether you need to do any more work in one of the other phases. So this isn't necessarily a linear process. You might get to a point where the rubber hits the road and clients start thinking about specifically what they're doing. And that's when you need to spend a bit more time in exploring awareness, because it might become apparent to a client that they don't have all the information they need. So the kind of questions you might ask here: how will you build and keep momentum? What support can you already access? What support do you need to ask for? What might stop you externally and internally? So you get a sense from a client of what they need in order to move forward. And then surrender, the last one. Well, really, this is going full circle, because you surrender to what arises next in your awareness. You surrender to whatever manifests, because you go through this coaching process and you get a result, for better or worse. So here's where we practice acceptance and gratitude and learning the lessons of what we've learned. So this is where we review with our clients and help them recalibrate if necessary and move forward. So they can never get this wrong, and you can never get this wrong as a tarot coach, because it's a cyclical process. So whatever the result is more learning, more lessons. And the kind of questions you might ask there is, how do you feel about where you find yourself? How well aligned are these outcomes with the goals that you set? What are you grateful for? What have you learned? And what are you most aware of now at this point in time? Which brings us back, of course, to awareness. It begins and ends with awareness. So the ACEs model is a cyclical model, and it means that you can always apply the tarot coaching process to the next thing that arises. So I see that as one of the benefits of ACEs. You can't get it wrong. It's a cycle, it's even a spiral, with things potentially improving and deepening each time. And other benefits, as I say, it can be pitched at different levels depending on how metaphysical or mundane you want to be. It describes this universal experience we all have of becoming aware of things, making decisions about how to respond to them, and then getting our results. It's simple to remember, and of course, it's linked to tarot. So one of the things that is in the Tarot Manifesting Guide, and that I'll just share with you here, this is a spread that I designed to help people to explore ACEs, and it's a great overview spread to do with a client who's explored all of the areas already. And you can do this in different ways. You can use the 4 ACEs as significators, and then you get your clients to choose cards. You can, if you like, include clarification cards, but I find it's helpful to ask questions and explore with the cards things like what helps me to become aware of what I most need to be aware of. And you could pick one or more cards for that. What supports my choice in being a co-creative force in my life? Where is my energy best placed in furtherance of my goal? And what enables me to surrender with equanimity to where life now leads me? And so you can explore with your clients all of those different elements. And as I say, you can choose clarification cards if you want to go deeper. And the H is a hidden card. You can pick that as a hidden gift, either from the bottom of the tarot deck. That's one of the nice things that we can do with hidden cards, or it might be a card you pull from another deck, an oracle deck or another tarot deck. But this is a fun exploratory spread to work through with your clients. So you understand the ACEs model, you know how to work with awareness, choice, energy, and surrender, and you've seen how to begin to incorporate cards into coaching. And I'm sure you've got some ideas yourself about how to do that. So just before we move on into the session, now it's another question. Have you found that this tarot coaching model works much better when there are more than one tarot coaching session? It can do. It really depends on your clients. It entirely depends on your clients and where they're at and where they want to go. And some sessions can be done. It can be a one-off session where you really help a client figure out a goal and how to plan, how to move forward. It does. Coaching generally works better over a number of sessions, a limited number of sessions. It's not an ongoing thing, but a limited number of sessions focused on a particular goal. And once you've got to the end of that cycle of sessions, you move on to another one. Gang has asked why I call it surrender. Simply because it's we don't really have much choice, do we? Once we get a result, the result you get is the result you get. So I called it surrender because there's something there about being open to what happens, and then allowing yourself to move forward from that and to learn from that. Victoria says 6 to 8 sessions total would be beneficial. Yes, I think that's about right. 6 to 8 sessions is a good, it's a manageable chunk, but it's enough to be able to really go deeply with a client. So yes. Okay, so there you have it. That was a snippet from Tarot Coach Session Success. I hope that was useful for those of you who have inquired. And on this slide, I've also provided a bit of information about what else you get when you enroll within the program. So you get instant access to the 90-minute workshop, which I've chunked up into 7 bite-sized digestible videos, which make it, I hope, easier to study. You get lifetime access to those, and they incorporate what you just learned about the ACEs coaching model, also information about what tarot coaching is and how we can combine these methods really successfully, information on how to structure a tarot coaching session for maximum impact and empowerment for your clients, and also some techniques on how to coach with cards, some practical techniques of what you would actually do within a tarot coaching session. And there's also a couple of Q&A sessions that I ran with the original cohort of students who came through the live course. So that's a really insightful section because I got some brilliant questions from students that really helped enrich the material. There's also, so those videos, by the way, are lifetime access. You can stream them whenever you want to, and you also have access to a number of PDF guides. So there's a Tarot Coach Session Success workbook, which you can use to follow along as you watch the videos. There's a template client coaching record so that you can actually structure the session or find it easier to structure a session using that record. Really useful. Certainly if you're a seasoned pro at this sort of stuff, it would be useful, but particularly useful if you're new. I have a reading guide, a suggested reading guide for tarot coaches if you want to take your studies further. I have a guide called 400 tarot coaching questions, which actually looks at each one of the 78 cards in the deck and uses them as a prompt for some really powerful wisdom accessing questions, which you can use with your clients. And then I also have a guide on how to enroll coaching clients. If you're interested in using your tarot coaching skills in a professional capacity, either you already have a professional practice or you're interested in starting one, then this is a short guide which just helps with the beginning process of that. I have another course which is specifically about setting up as a tarot professional called Tarot Coach Go Pro, but this is a useful introductory guide for those who are just at the foothills of that kind of activity. So that's what's available. At the time I'm making this video, the price varies depending on what else I've got going on, but at the moment the price is set at $27. So it's, I think, an absolute steal because there's a load of great material in there, and I hope you will find it useful if you choose to enroll. Until next time, friends, look after yourselves. I will see you again very soon. Um, Take care of yourselves. Any questions, pop them in the comments below. Very happy to answer them. And I'll be back in touch soon. Take care. Bye.